Hiya, babes, and welcome back to another episode of Thanks for Stopping By. What the fuck is going on, YouTube? Oh man, it is. So I was gonna get all dolled up for you, like I did not last week, the week before. I was gonna get all prettied up. It was gonna be all a great time. But it's like 100 something fucking degrees. I'm on fire. I have the air on. I don't even care. Who gives a shit? Because it's fucking hot. But we're here. We're doing it. Sorry about taking last week off. I didn't have the ability to record. Just due to some personal stuff. So we had to make do, and y'all got another best of. But you know what? That's okay, because we're back now, baby. We're back in the fucking game. And I got a bunch of shit I want to talk about. A bunch of stuff. One thing is something that I'm way late on. Like, actually way too late on. But I didn't even realize. I forgot to talk about it in the most recent episode. And that is, there was an event called the Creator Clash that I paid money to watch. But yeah, it was a YouTube boxing event. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, whoa, the fuck is this? Some Jake Paul, Logan Paul kind of stuff? What's going on here? Primo mia, you know? But no, it was not. This event was different than most YouTube boxing because it starred a ton of YouTubers you would never think would ever be in a fight in their lives. Some of the standouts you may have heard of is like Aaron from Game Grumps. My two people I was rooting for are both the boys from Super Mega. There was animation YouTuber named Odd Ones Out. The guy from Epic Mealtime. Like, there was a lot of YouTubers who you wouldn't think would fight. And they took it very serious, Like, obviously, you could tell that they were not trained fighters, training their whole lives. Obviously, they only had a few months to a year to train for most of the fighters. But they took it serious, and everyone seemed to, have fun and enjoy the fight. And it was a blast. I had a blast watching it. I think it was cool. It was a cool charity event. That was cool. And yeah, man, both my boys lost. I was very sad about that. But it'd be like that. But yeah, I was like gonna do a whole episode about it, but not only am I so late, but I also realized, like, man, I only knew like half the YouTubers there, so it was so varied. So like, there's a lot of the fights I didn't know anybody, so I don't really have anything to say. But I just wanted to bring that up because it's fun. And it's free on YouTube. It's free on YouTube now if you want to go watch it. So just type in Creator Clash 2022. And go watch that. It was a good flipping time. The other thing I wanted to mention that I saw like a week, 2 weeks ago, but didn't talk about was fucking Top Gun, dude. So I went and saw it. And I'm gonna be honest. I don't have like a huge attachment to the original Top Gun, right? Like, there's all the memes about it, the funny ha-has. Oh, they play volleyball with their shirts off, and it's very homoerotic, and it's like, yeah, we love it. But as a film, I don't really fucking give a shit about the original Top Gun at all. I don't. I just don't really care about it. It doesn't have like a special place in my life. But so when the new one was announced, I really had no desire to see it, if I'm being honest. When the new one was announced, I was like, oh, they're doing the thing. They're making a sort of requel, if you will, as it's being called. Um, and I was like, whatever, man. That's whatever. That's for a different audience. But then somebody offered to take me to go see it. So I went, and I gotta say, this movie is fucking bars, dude. This, if you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, holy shit. This movie fucking rips, dude. It's so good for no reason. It had no reason to be as good as it was. Is it 10 out of 10 life-changing best film I've ever seen? No. Was it a fucking blast and do I want to watch it again? Yeah, absolutely. Like, just the plane sequences alone. The best word I could describe it is tense, right? Like the movie's just it feels so fucking real, and it's because a lot of the plane shit they did was apparently pretty real. It was flown by pilots, and all of the not insane shit. Obviously, the actors were in the planes for a lot of it, like in the back seat, and then pretending to fly or whatever. And yeah, man, there's just like such clear passion put into the movie. Like they all went through like rigorous months of fucking training, like actual fighter pilot training. And it's crazy, man, and it pays off because the movie's fucking awesome. It's so good. All of the flight sequences are really good, and that's obviously the big sell of the movie. But even the downtime where it's just the characters interacting and talking, I found myself really invested in. And I think that's what separates this one from the original the most is the characters. I feel like in the original the characters were pretty one note, didn't really get developed too much. Whereas in this one, you get a lot more character work, a lot more deeper story, and it was just really, really, really well written and made. And it didn't have to be. Like, they could have easily just made a shit plot with pretty one-note characters and had the flight sequences, and I feel like people would have still enjoyed it. But they went a step further and, like, actually made the characters interesting and deep, you know. And it was really fucking cool, man. And I definitely want to see it again soon. Like, I would love to go watch that shit. And I recommend you do too, dude. And I recommend trying to see it in theaters because it's fucking exhilarating in a theater. I'm sure it'll still be fine at home, but seeing it in a theater, especially in like XD and shit, really adds to that layer of tension and craziness. And yeah, man, Top Gun fucking rips, dude. Let's go. Also, mother flippin', Stranger Things, dude. Stranger Thongs, baby. It's back. It's back, baby. It's good. Everyone knows. Everyone loves this show. It's good, solid show. I gotta be honest. I'm fucking tired of watching this shit. Here's the thing, man. And you know what? Stranger Things stands. Strange heads. Don't get mad at me. But I'm really fucking tired of watching Stranger Things. And I honestly, this is a show I've always said I think Stranger Things could have ended after season 1. If we're being honest, we're putting all our cards on the table. I think this show could have ended after season 1, dude. They fucking tell this amazing story. It's all amazing and great. Fucking I feel like they wrap it up nicely. The kid with the bowl cut, get him back. It's all wrapped up perfectly. We saved the world and we killed the spooky ghoul. But that's not how TV works. So we got to have him go in the bathroom and throw up a little slug monster. And then, you know what's nuts, though? Is that, and I feel like this happens a lot, when you go back and binge watch a show that's been out for a long time. There are a lot of shows and movie series that have a really, really shit season 2 / sequel. But the franchise survives purely off the popularity of the first one. Because season 2 of Stranger Things is fucking dog shit and a half. It's so bad. Dude, when that shit came out, I couldn't believe my fucking eyes and ears. It's so bad. Because it's essentially season 1, but like all the worst parts of season 1. They introduce, some new characters, which is fun, and they ended up being like staple characters to the show. But plot-wise, it is the worst season of Stranger Things. 11's barely in it because I feel like they didn't want her in it. Like, they didn't have any plans for her. But Netflix was like, dude, how are we going to sell Halloween costumes of a little girl holding Eggos with a blonde wig? Fucking, you better put her in it. And the fucking Duffer Brothers were like, well, we already wrote all 8 episodes and she ain't in it. And they're like, well, she is now. We got a brand deal with Eggo. You better put her the fuck in it. Better have her show. So they write this like weird X-Men episode, which was also apparently like a test pilot for like a separate show, like a spin-off show that will never get made because it's the worst episode of Stranger Things as a fucking series. That weird episode where 11 is just like hanging out with other members of where she's from with numbers, which this season also has created some continuity errors, I'll say. That's all I'll leave it at, 'cause I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it. Watch it. If you're a fan of it, you've already watched it. You know what I'm talking about, maybe. But if not, I'd still recommend the show. Like, I'm kind of dogging on it right now because I'm upset that I have to keep watching this shit every year because I just want it to end good, and it's making me nervous because each season, none of the seasons have been as bad as season 2. Like, season 3 rips pretty hard, and season 4 so far is solid. But I notice each season always has at least one plot point, like plot line, that I couldn't give less of a fuck about. Because Stranger Things loves to have like 4 plots at once. So it's like, well, this group is over here, and this group's doing this thing, and the adults, they're fucking off over here. Because if they weren't, why would they ever let their kids out of their sight other than the fact that they have some other grown adult spooky shit going on? And this season has some really, really fucking fun moments of like whimsical, science fiction kind of horror fantasy where it's like the kids going around doing a lot of spooky, like paranormal mystery type of shit. It's really fun feel. But then you cut back to the adults, and it's just, I don't give a fucking shit about the adults. I don't care about Russians at all. Like, the show loves to continue that plot point, which was the worst part of season 3. They're just like, world-ending demon ghoul who that did just all this fucking will steal and eat your soul. But also Russian people. Fucking know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's just not that cool comparatively. When I see a scene of all the kids discovering a new clue about the ghoul and how to defeat it, and then it's like, yeah, but what about Hellboy? He's hanging out with the Russian army, man. It's crazy over there. I'm like, I don't give a shit, man. I fucking don't care at all. And they keep insisting that I do. Me personally. You know? So, I don't know, man. I kind of wish the show would have ended after season 1, but I'm not mad that it didn't. Like, because that's not how TV works again. But if they're gonna keep this shit, because this is not the last season. I want it to be. I really want this to be the last season. It's not. This show's gonna go way too many seasons, for sure. But if they're going to, I want them to at least keep the writing strong. And so far, it's pretty half and half. Like, it's a pretty mixed bag of, like, really, really good shit and then shit I don't care about. So it averages out to, like, a solid, decent show. But yeah. That's another thing. Speaking of shows I wish ended after season 1, this one less than Stranger Things. This one I feel like has been more consistently good than Stranger Things is. And that's The Boys. The Boys is back, baby. Let's hear it for The Boys. The Boys is back on Amazon Prime, motherfucker. Let's go. I absolutely treasure season 1 of The Boys. I think it is fucking amazing, especially with, like, and I talked about this a while ago when I talked about Invincible on the pod. And that is the story of what if there was evil Superman? What if Superman was just evil, man? Like, what if he was still a Superman, but now he was a bad one? Ba-bum. That's the whole thing. But I almost said Insidious does it. That is not. Don't listen to me ever. You fucking Injustice does it. Jesus Christ. Injustice does that. They have a whole storyline about evil Superman. And then again, Invincible kind of touches on that too. I think Invincible does a more interesting job of it because it adds, like, the parental element. But I think out of any media, The Boys does it the best with Homelander. If you haven't seen The Boys, light spoilers, I will say, but it's pretty obvious to tell from the trailers or just general information about the show. But in case you don't want to, I'd skip ahead a couple minutes because spoilers for The Boys. Yeah, Homelander's fucking nuts. Totes obv. And he's clearly like a superhero, sort of evil version of like a Superman / Captain America type. But instead of just him, like in the comics, he's really like the basic version of like, I'm a bad guy who's super. Like he's pretty what I'm talking about. He's like, I'm Superman, but evil. And he's just like this brutal fucking murder machine who's invincible. But in the show, they've given him a lot more depth in terms of like his character and his desire to be loved by everyone. Specifically the motherly figure to him. Madeline is it Stillwell or Stallwell? Stillwell, I think. She's like the lady who runs. She's like in charge of the soups at Vought, which is the big superhero thing. But yeah, they give her like this motherly control over him, and he's clearly got a weird, obsession with not only her but being loved and appreciated by her. And they go full force with it, like drinking her breast milk and shit, and like he's like tasking another soup who can shapeshift to like pretend to be her. It's fucking wild, okay? But but also beyond her, just the desire to be loved and seen, loved by people, but in a way he deems appropriate. He likes being seen as this godlike figure. Um, you know, and yeah, man, there's so much to him. I think genuinely one of the best scenes, definitely the best scene in The Boys, but probably one of the best scenes in TV is in the first season, when they're on the flight, the jet that is being held hostage. There's people holding the jet plane hostage, and Queen Maeve and Homelander fly onto the jet, and they take out all the hostages, and it's like, yay, they saved the day. But when they go inside of the cabin, the cockpit, there's another guy, and when Homelander lasers him, he lasers the jet out, and the plane starts to go down. And it fucking, like, it's so insane and amazing. First of all, Anthony Starr's fucking performance as Homelander is, like, award worthy. Like, give this man whatever the awards are, you know? But it's just so crazy, the juxtaposition of, like, when he first gets on the plane and they think all the captives are gone, dead. And they're like, everyone's cheering, and he's like clapping. He's like, no, you guys, you're the heroes. You're the real heroes. Like that type of shit. Clearly like his PR statement, you know? It's so funny. He's like cheeking it up with them. But then as the plane goes down, he just, you see this panic sweep over everyone, including Queen Maeve. And he's just like, well, he's like so nonchalant about it. Just such an attitude of like, well, looks like another in the field casualty for Homelander. And then as they're about to leave, he's just kind of trying to pretend like everything's okay. And when people obviously realize that it's not true, they start panicking. And he there's a scene where she takes this little girl and her mom. Queen Maeve does, excuse me. And Queen Maeve brings the mom and the little girl to Homelander. She's like, at least fly them to safety. Because she asks him, oh, can you like lift the plane? And he's like, I can't. There's nothing to push off of. He's said it. Like, he's set in stone. These people are dead. He's not even going to try. There's things he could probably do that would require effort. Maybe individually try to fly them all to the water and drop them safely or something, like, I don't know. I'm not a fucking superhero, but I'm sure there are things he could try, but he's set. He's like, I'm not going to go out of my way. These people are going to die. But she tries to get him to take these two little kids, and he's like, no, like, why? So they can tell the whole world we left all these other fucking people to die. And as she's trying to get him to take them, other people are charging forward. And there's this really this moment is like, this is going to sound like the most cliche shit, but legitimately like fucking goosebumps, where he goes from being like, no, pretty nonchalant, whatever, to like just getting in everyone's face. And he's like, I will fucking laser you. Get the fuck back. And he's like screaming at him with his laser eyes starting to turn red. And it's fucking incredible, dude, because it's so mind-blowing, because you've seen Homelander do some fuck shit in this show at this point. Like, you've seen all the Supes do some fuck shit at this point, pretty much. They're all pretty bad people for different reasons, too, which I really love. They're all unique in their own way. They have their own agendas, and they have their own issues and things they do. But this is like, you're like, oh my God, this guy is fucking insane. And then they fly away, and it also fucks you up, because I'm sitting there going, imagine you're in that position. Superheroes are real, because we look up to superheroes in our real life, and they're not even real. So imagine them being real people. Imagine Spider-Man is swinging around out there. Spider-Man's like Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. Now I'm imagining if he really is out there swinging around, fucking, whatever. And then as the last moment I'm about to die, there's someone who can save me and then just fucking chooses not to. And you realize the selfish, awful, shitty person that you looked up to for this long. That's soul crushing, dude. And you're just sitting there like, oh my God, that's the last thing they had. They carried that with them to the plane crashed. And then, on top of it, fucking might as well, he fucking makes it like a terrorist thing. And because his whole goal was to get superheroes in the army. So he makes it seem like, oh, well, we could have been there to save the plane in time if the army or the U.S. general or whatever the fuck sent us, but he didn't, so we couldn't save them. So he like turns it into a political move for money. And that's the best fucking thing about the show. It's not, the violence is crazy. I've heard some critiques about the fighting, but like, I think it's fine that they don't all just do fucking karate like in Marvel. Like, I think it's fine. A lot of the fights, they're a lot of these superheroes, they don't fight people who are as strong as them. So when they do fight people, they just kind of flail around at each other or shoot each other with powers. But they don't all know like karate and shit, and I think that's fine. But all that's cool. But the best part about the show is all of the shady backdoor fucking politics. Is watching two people in suits or, fucking Madeline sitting down with like a mayor of some big, fucking city trading superheroes like they're ball players. Like, that's the best aspect of the show. And I feel like in season 1 is when that type of shit is at its strongest because they were still getting the story together. They were still setting up the world they live in. And as the show goes on, it's never gone from the show, luckily. It does become less of a focal point. But it in season 1, it's at its fucking strongest. And like, they could have easily just done one season of this show. But again, that's not really how TV works. And I'm not upset that they're doing more seasons. And so far, they've only done 3 episodes of this new season. The 4th episode comes out tomorrow, and I'm really excited for it. The show is still as crazy and gory and raunchy as ever. And it's still good. It's still fun. I will say, there's one thing they're doing a lot this season that I really fucking don't like. And it's something they did in season 2. They only did it once, and it really pissed me off. And that's they're doing a lot of dream sequences or hallucination scenes with Butcher. And I hate that shit. I hate dream sequences because I think they're a really lazy attempt to shock your audience without having to commit to the idea you had. Like, for instance, again, spoilers for a moment of season 2 for The Boys is Homelander is like, he shows up at a protest because people are protesting him. And they're protesting soups in the army. And he shows up there to try and talk, I guess. And everyone starts shouting at him. They're like, you don't talk for us. You don't speak for us. Fuck you. Blah, 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 blah. And you see him getting really upset. And then all of a sudden his eyes turn red. And he just lasers the entire fucking audience. And it's crazy. It's out of fucking nowhere. And it's just like, that's always how I wanted his snap to be. Because I'm imagining how fucking terrifying that would be. Like, this guy who is literally invincible. No one could do anything to him if they wanted to. And he just snaps one day. And so when they did that, I was like, holy shit, they pulled the fucking trigger. Wow, they did it. And he like lasers like thousands of people. But then it cuts back to him. And he's just on the stage. And people are still yelling. And it was a dream sequence. And I was like, fuck, man. That's so lame. I get why they did it. Because they need to get more out of the character before he fully goes nuts. But it was lame. I was like, I feel like there's a better way to introduce the idea of him wanting to do that without making us go like a fake out. I don't know. It just felt kind of cheap, but in this season, in this new season, there's only 3 episodes, and they've done that with Butch like fucking 4 times. It's really out of control. And I hope they don't keep doing it because I think it's such a like lazy way for writers who they want to do something crazy, but they're not allowed to, or they don't want to commit. And so they're like, well, we'll still put it in the show, but it'll just be pretend, wink, wink. And it's like, that's no fun. um, but yeah, man, I don't know. Beyond that, it's still really fun. It's still really good. Again, there's only 3 episodes left. It was interesting. They just dropped 3 episodes, and then now it's every Friday for the next till the season finale. But I love the show. I think it's interesting, and I can't wait to see where it goes, man. If you haven't, hello. Yeah, man. If you haven't watched it, watch The Fucking Boys, dude. It's really good. It's so good. Everyone in it's so good. It's definitely one of my favorite shows on TV right now. And yeah, man, it's here for the boys. Well, one more. You know what? Fuck it. We'll talk about it. One more thing I wanted to talk about. I almost forgot. I had probably one of the best wrestling experiences I've had. Definitely top 5, dude. And that was I finally made my debut for Hood Slam in Oakland, California. If you're a longtime listener of the podcast, I've talked about it plenty of times. Hood Slam has literally been my top company that I've wanted to work for a long time. I just love everything about them. So many of the members of the roster are people I grew up with and grew up looking up to. People like Brittany Wonder, the Cuzzies, Sheik, like all these fucking people, Mike Hayashi, Chupi, like everyone, people I grew up with and around and who are like family to me, are mainstays, that they are Hood Slam. And I've been wanting to work for them for so long, and finally I got the opportunity to, and it was such a fucking blast, dude. And on top of that, not only did I get to debut, but again, debut against people I grew up around. The Stoner Brothers and Johnny Butabi, man. Like 3 people I fucking grew up around watching in the business for years and years and years as a kid. I got to make my debut against them in a 4-way, and it was awesome. It was such a fucking blast. That crowd is incredible. Like, the fucking Hood Slam crowd is like nothing else, dude. They are so amazing. At one point mid-match, someone handed me a streamer, and I threw it at someone to break up a pin. It was such a fucking good time, dude. And yeah, just being in the locker room, being in that environment, I fucking love all of them so much. So yeah, I want to say thank you to Hood Slam for having me. I hope to be back very soon because yeah, it was definitely up there in my top wrestling experiences. This shit was such a fucking blast, dude. And if you want to watch it, you can go ahead and check it out on Fight TV. It was the June 3rd pay-per-view on Fight TV. You can check out that show. It was an incredible show. And yeah, man. I just wanted to say that because it was a fucking blast. And thank you, Hood Slam. Thank you, Oakland, the crowd, everyone. And I hope to see y'all soon. But yeah, with that being said, I want to say thank y'all so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thanks for giving me another week. And thank you for enjoying the best of. I was a little worried that I wasn't going to get the views the podcast has been getting. But it did. People listened to it. So thank you for listening to that. I was really proud of that best of because it had a lot of my favorite moments from the podcast with my friend Brandon and my friend Raina. So it was cool. And yeah, thanks for coming and listening. I appreciate it. I want to say, like I said before, I want to have guests. So please leave in the comments or DM me or write to me on Twitter. Guests you want to see on the show, because I am traveling more for wrestling, so I definitely want to start getting more guests on the show. And yeah, man, as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And most importantly, thanks for stopping by.